Hi everyone. In this lecture you will learn how to introduce yourself using the verb to be. Additionally, you will be able to ask questions using the verb to be. Let's get started. I will start by making simple sentences using the verb to be. The first thing that we should learn is that the verb to be has different forms. Depending on which pronoun you use, that form will vary. So let's take a look at this for a moment. So if you notice our examples, I would like to start by looking at the right side of this chart for a moment. So paying attention to this part of the chart. As you can see, the verb to be is going to vary depending on the pronoun that I use. So in this case, if I talk about the pronoun I, that means that the verb to be will be in the form of am. So it's going to be I am. And if I talk about the pronoun you, or we, or they, then that is going to be are in the form of are. And whenever I talk about the third person, that third person is he, she, or it, then the verb to be is going to be is, as you can see on the chart. So just reviewing what I just mentioned, we want to write down what I just mentioned just to make sure that we are not confused about that. So I mentioned that whenever I talk about I, the verb to be is going to be in the form of am. When I talk about the pronouns you, we, or they, then the verb to be is going to be in the form of are. And when I talk about the pronouns he, she, or it, then the verb to be is going to be in the form of is. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to listen to these sentences that you see here. Now, you're going to listen to the sentences in the form of contraction. So what this means is that if I mentioned that the verb to be is am in this form, so it's going to be in a contracted way, it's going to be So you're going to hear Jennifer Miller, for example.
I'm Jennifer Miller.
You're in my class. She's in our class. Jennifer is in our class.
He's over there. Stephen is over there.
It's my math book.
It's Miller. My last name is Miller.
Okay, so after having listened to these sentences using the verb to be, you can see that we are using the verb to be and then we're including the name. So in this case, I'm Jennifer Miller. So in this particular case, what you would do is that you would include your name, right? So this is how the verb to be is used, and this next part will be your name. So for example, I will say I'm Joe and not I'm Jennifer Miller. You should practice this concept as we go along the class. You're in my class. She's in our class. Jennifer is in our class. Now, the pronouns could be changed for the names of people. As you can see, Jennifer is replaced by she. So instead of me saying she's in our class, I exchange the pronoun for the name of a person. So in this case, I use Jennifer. Jennifer is in our class. He's over there. And the same thing happens on the next example. Stephen is over there. So instead of me saying he's over there, I could also say the name of a person, which is, in this case, is Stephen. It's my math book. It's Miller. Instead of me saying it's Miller, I could say my last name is Miller because it basically replaces my last name. So this concept is quite easy. The next thing that I would like to do is I would like to show you how to formulate questions and short answers using the verb to be. So we're going to take a look at this part of the chart here. What's going to happen is very simple. So what's going to happen is that we're going to be changing the location of the verb to be. As you can see on the left side, the location is after the pronoun. So let me go ahead and write some examples like that. So I'm going to go ahead and write the example that is there. You are Stephen Carson. Now, what this is a statement basically. I have the pronoun and then I have a verb to be. That verb to be needs to agree with the pronoun. So I mentioned that if I use you, we, or they, then the verb to be is gonna have to be are. And if I talk about the third person, then that verb to be is going to change to is. And if I talk about the pronoun I, then that verb to be will be am. Now, what is it that we want to do next? We want to be able to formulate questions. And then we're going to learn how to answer in a short response. So what we're going to do is very, very simple. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing the location of the verb to be. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing this verb to be before the pronoun. So we're going to put it there. And let me show you how that is done. So that's very simple. What we did was we added the verb to be at the very beginning, that is before the pronoun, and then we have the pronoun, and then whatever it is that we're asking. In this case, I am asking if, are you Stephen Carson? And our response, well, it's going to vary depending on what is it that we're asking. It could be a positive response, it could be a negative response, as you can see there. And so the response may be yes, I am, or no, I'm not. And this will vary depending on the pronoun. So let's say that now I am asking a person about somebody else. So I'm not asking a direct question. I will be asking an indirect question about somebody else that could be in a particular place. So I want to ask about he. So what's going to happen? Well, we need to look at the verb to be for he. It's is, as you can see on the right side of the above chart. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change the verb to be to is, and obviously I'm going to change the pronoun for he, and then I have my question. Is he Stephen Carson? And in our responses, it's going to be either positive, so I'm going to have to change this for he, and I will include the verb to be for that response. So yes, he is, or no, and I'm going to have to change this for he is not, or he isn't will be the other way to formulate this particular question. Okay, so I think that this is it for now, and I will see you on the next lecture.